Kobe, he said that he wants to bet me 50 grand. He's walking out right now. He wants to donate 50 grand to his charity if we play one-on-one. It's on the table, though, me and Kobe.
I took up acting, too.
Acting?
Is that my witness?
It was.
Waste of time.
It only took 9 takes.
Doesn't this get annoying?
Does what get annoying?
Using some sage to cleanse the negative vibrations in the building.
Look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie. And careful with the shoulder. Oh, it's the left shoulder.
Kyrie Irving, one of the most popular basketball players nowadays, both for his on-court dominance and his questionable thoughts off of it. Even though it seems like he always says what's on his mind, there's a lot we don't quite know yet about Kyrie as a person.
I'm Kyrie Irving. Transformation is complete.
I got you all right.
So in today's video, we'll be looking at 10 of the most interesting facts regarding arguably the greatest point guard in the history of the Cleveland Cavaliers franchise.
It's a Kyrie effect, a math equation that lets me hit any shot. Carry the one, control all your variables, is undeniable.
Make sure you guys stick around until the end of the video to find out about the comment he made that had him in headlines for weeks. We'll kick it off at number 10. Kyrie Irving hopes to become a journalist one day. Every single time he gets asked about a potential career in the future, he always points towards journalism. His father has been a lot of help in this dream as well, as he talked about Kyrie becoming a sports analyst, journalist, or even a coach about 20 years into the future. He is also one to always keep a journal. He writes in it frequently to put down any helpful quotes or mottos to push him through rough patches. An example of one of those quotes would be the hungry and humble tag that he threw onto his Kyrie 1s a couple years ago after signing with Nike in 2011. Moving on to number 9, continuing with Kyrie's former passions, he also used to be a terrific baseball player and skateboarder when he was younger. Irving decided to try his hand at baseball when he was around 8 or 9 years old, and being the athlete that he was, he ended up being pretty good at it. He played shortstop for an older team because he was so talented and was more than capable of holding his own despite the age difference. After that, he found himself falling in love with the art of skateboarding. He used to practice it all the time and ended up being incredibly good at it, though he doesn't do it anymore because of the injury risk, which is pretty understandable considering that NBA career he's got to take care of. Now we're on to number 8. This one is definitely going to surprise some people. Kyrie Irving reportedly first began dribbling a basketball at the age of 13 months. Yeah, you heard that correctly. He showed above average ball control just as a toddler and was dribbling at 13 months. Fast forward a little bit, and he was making a basket with ease at the age of 4. Then, at age 6, he was knocking down left-handed layups. This insane amount of talent just happened to be instilled within him because of his father's basketball background. The coaching tips that he was receiving even at that early age were incredibly beneficial to him as a player. I just can't even imagine doing anything at 13 months old, and yet here's Kyrie dribbling a basketball. Coming in at number 7, many of you might be already aware of this fact, but Kyrie Irving was actually born in Australia and not the United States. There's probably a lot of people out there who just assumed Kyrie was born in the US because of his play in the Olympics with them, but that actually isn't true. He was born in Melbourne, Australia, and stayed there until he was 2 years old. That was when he moved to the United States and became a US citizen. He has frequently talked about how badly he wants to return to his birthplace, but doesn't get much time to nowadays. His father is one of the biggest reasons Kyrie wants to travel and see more of the world so much, which I can imagine is why he wants to go back and witness all of those incredible sights again, like the Great Barrier Reef. Side fact for you here, despite playing for Team USA, he actually didn't want to at first. He originally wanted to play for Australia, which makes sense, but ended up getting talked out of it with the promise that he would play for them in the next Olympics. Then, of course, he went on to win the gold medal alongside Team USA later that year. Next up, at number 6, Kyrie's godfather was a former NBA player himself, Rod Strickland. Strickland played in the NBA for 17 long years and put up over 14,000 points and 8,000 assists, but isn't really as known in today's generation. When Strickland was at his peak, though, he was passing the ball arguably better than the majority of the best point guards throughout the 90s. He led the league in assists during the 1997-98 season and was rewarded by being named to the All-NBA second team, beating out John Stockton for the spot. He was great friends with Kyrie's father, Drederick, and the two men were constantly instilling great wisdom about the game of basketball to Kyrie. You know, having those two successful basketball players be his mentors growing up had to have impacted his career in a great way. Moving on to number 5, Kyrie Irving simply loves the spotlight. Did you know that he decided to appear in his high school's musical version of High School Musical? Well, we didn't either until we did some research. Throughout his younger days, he got a background in theater and always loved to sing and dance. Appearing in his school's version of the Disney movie had to be one of the biggest reasons that he ended up being featured on other popular shows, the most notable being Kickin' It, the Disney XD show. His role in the show wasn't tremendous, but he has said in the past that he just wanted to inspire and motivate the younger generation to work to achieve their goals just like he did. His appearance definitely helped him win over those younger fans and was amazing for his popularity. Unlike the number 1 fact on our list that had fans and media all over the world scratching their heads. Stick around until the end of the video to find out what he said that got so much publicity. But first, we'll move on to number 4. For any young and hopeful basketball players out there, this fact might be incredibly helpful to you. When Irving was growing up, his father had given him a weird drill to practice. He used to wrap the ball in a plastic bag while Kyrie was dribbling the basketball, making it harder to bounce and do any type of dribble moves. As the days passed by, Kyrie slowly started to get used to the bag, and because of that, had an improved sense of control and feel with the basketball. This hard work can be seen every time Kyrie has the ball in his hands on an NBA court. It seems like the man is holding the ball on a string and just whipping it around everywhere. His crossovers have become one of the best in league history, with his name always being thrown around in the best handles in league history conversation. I recommend you take some time out of your day to watch a few of his dribbling highlights. Believe me, there are some moves he makes that will have you rewatching it over and over. Coming in at number 3, Kyrie was able to dominate the high school level during his time there. To make it even more impressive, he dominated at 2 different schools. When he was a freshman and sophomore, he attended Michael Kimberly Academy. Throughout those 2 years, he averaged, get this, 26.5 points, 10.3 assists, 4.8 rebounds, and 3.6 steals per game. He also became the second student ever to cross 1,000 points in that school's history. However, Kyrie explained that he just wanted a new challenge and chose to transfer over to St. Patrick High School. With much better competition than what he was facing off against before, he still put up great numbers. During his junior year, Kyrie averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists per game before upping his scoring total to 24 points a game in his senior year. That senior year also happened to be a national championship run for St. Patrick's team, with Kyrie being the best player on that team throughout the journey. It really didn't matter who he faced during his 4 years of high school, it always seemed like he was adapting and improving no matter the competition. Next up, it's fact number 2. Kyrie was selected with the number 1 overall selection in the NBA draft despite only playing in 11 college games. He chose to announce his decision to attend Duke at the beginning of his senior year of high school, and he didn't look back. It was a great situation for him as he was able to pick up even more skills from Team USA coach Mike Krzyzewski. He appeared in 8 games to start off his Duke career, starting in 7 of them and putting up 17.4 points, 5.1 assists, and 3.8 rebounds a game. His year then got thrown completely off course in a game against Butler University, who, ironically enough, had Brad Stevens as their head coach at the time of this matchup. Kyrie was in the middle of a play when he went down with a big toe injury. He was pretty much forced to sit out for the rest of the season and only returned for 3 more games with the team in the NCAA tournament when the school eventually lost to the Arizona Wildcats. However, despite not having much playing time in his college days, the Cleveland Cavaliers looked past that and felt he had enough skills to truly be a stellar volume scorer in the NBA. That's when they chose to select him with the top pick, where he eventually became one of the best players in franchise history. Finally, we're on to number 1. Probably the best known fact about Kyrie Irving is that he truly believes the earth is flat. Some have called this situation the worst PR blunder in his entire lifetime. He chose to appear on the Road Trippin' podcast in February of 2017 and chose to talk about how he felt the world we live in was flat.
When I started actually doing research on my own, but there is no real picture of Earth. Like, there's not one picture of Earth.
Obviously, the media and the community were stunned by the seriousness of his comments and couldn't even believe what they were hearing. Here's one of his quotes. "I think people should do their own research. I've seen a lot of things that my educational system has said was real that turned out to be completely fake. I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my own thoughts." His response blew up so much that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had to come out with his own response to the media. He said, "As he made clear today, he was trying to be provocative, and I think it was effective. A larger commentary on the so-called fake news debate in our society right now in terms of what's reported, and it led to an interesting conversation. But personally, I believe the Earth is round." Fast forward a couple years, and he was invited to appear on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show back in February. Irving eventually did admit that he simply just tangled his words and regretted what he chose to say on that podcast. Then he was handed a basketball with the world map painted around it to further prove the Earth is in fact not flat. This was arguably his most wild and random controversy throughout his entire career, and it's definitely something that won't be going away anytime soon, even though he did admit he was wrong. Seems like almost every time I hear news about Irving nowadays, I end up reading something about those Earth comments. I don't think you're ever going to live this one down, Kyrie. And with that crazy fact, we wrap up our video on the 10 most interesting facts regarding Kyrie Irving. If you happen to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more amazing content just like it. Also, remember to smash that bell icon so that you never miss another video, because we've got some great stuff planned for the future that you won't want to miss out on.